Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Rushville at the Princess Theater. This Princess Theater is coming up on 100 years old, and this is really the new Princess Theater. The original one burned down. But in Rushville, a lot of times, the old is new. And you're about to see what they're doing with the newest digital equipment here at the Princess. Mike Newenham, we're coming up on 100 years of the Princess Theater, the new Princess Theater. The old Princess Theater burned down, didn't it? It was a wooden building.
Well, wooden building back in the early 1900s, and then they replaced it with the building that you see here today. Yeah. In 1916.
In 1916. And what you've tried to do here, it's reopened again, been reopened for almost 20 years, and now it's operated by a foundation, a not-for-profit foundation, who has movies on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for $5. First run movies.
Yes, we just opened Freebirds the first of the month, and we're going to open this weekend the new Hunger Games Catching Fire movie.
Terrific. And you've tried to keep the Art Deco look, which was it's kind of cool the way, if you look at the ceiling here and the way it's lit. This is the way it was.
Yes. It's been this way since the 30s and 40s when they redid the lobbies.
Yeah. And of course, you've had to do some things. I mean, you can't always keep things just the way they are because they wear out. You've got all new seating now. Yes. You're putting in new carpeting now. And it has been an evolution, but it's something that the community seems to like pretty well, don't they?
You bet. They without the communities from all around the area, we wouldn't exist. And we had to upgrade because of the film coming to an end. An end of an era. There's no more 35mm film after the first of the year.
And this is going to be interesting on a lot of levels. We're going to take a look at the house and the screen and everything, but we're going to also be able to juxtapose the old projector, which used those heavy reels, and this digital outfit, which you have just gotten in, which you've just, and we'll get to show the difference. When a lot of people have not seen this new equipment. It'll be an eye opener for some folks. I think.
Yes.
Before we leave this space, this is where you buy your ticket when you first
come in.
Right
here. You come in the door there and buy your ticket, come around over and get your concessions.
Okay, and you got your concession stand here. You got your, in there, you get your pop and your popcorn, etc. in there. And then you head on into the house, right? And find your seat. Okay, let's go. We mentioned the fact, and this is kind of cool because you have not changed the structure of this thing. It looked like this in 1916, didn't it?
Yes. Yes, it was completely looked like this. The paint may have changed over the years, and they've taken out some fixtures and put in different fixtures over the years to kind of upgrade because back when they opened, they didn't have air conditioning. And they had some big fans that hung down from the rafters up, and they've taken those out.
Of course, it's air conditioned now.
Yes, it's air conditioned now. And when it originally opened, they didn't have any bathrooms either.
Is that right?
Yeah. You just
so
come in.
So it was an outhouse? I mean, there must have been an outhouse.
There wasn't anything here.
No, okay. You had to just carve out some bathrooms, huh?
Yeah, you sat in a wooden seat. That the seat folded down originally, and you watched the movie and then left.
You didn't dawdle.
It cost a nickel.
You prepared for it, right?
Yep,
okay.
yep.
The light fixtures, they fit in the Art Deco theme. Those were not here. You all put those.
No, they put those in 1995 when the theater had been closed down, and a group went together and reopened it. Sold shares when it reopened it, and those are actually colanders that they bought. Cut the legs and handles off and painted them up. And
that's imaginative. That's terrific. Okay, now let's walk down. We can see the new seats here.
Yes.
These are all new. And we'll see some of the old seats that you stored in the back. We're walking down this new red carpet.
Yep.
And you're in the process of putting that on both sides. Right. So you'll have new red carpet runners.
And it'll have LED lighting down the tracks for the floor.
And while we're looking at the floor, one of the interesting things about this floor is that this used to be, when it was originally built, a wooden floor.
Yes, that's what I was told.
Now it's concrete.
Yep, they poured the concrete back in the early 30s.
And that was quite a story, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, from what I was told, what they used was mules and slip scoops. They come through the back, and dug this hole out, and hauled it out, and then they hauled by wheelbarrows. A bunch of gentlemen hauled the concrete in to do the floor. And that would have been such an undertaking with 300 or 400 people busy.
300 people work. Well, you can imagine they didn't have cement trucks, I guess.
No, they poured the floor all in one shot.
Wow. Okay, it would have taken 300 people.
Yeah.
And it took horses or mules to haul
the stuff in and out.
The fill out of here,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Wow, okay. Well, there's a job. Everything was easy after that.
You bet,
Okay.
you bet.
Then they poured the concrete floor, and
Yep.
this has been here since the 30s.
Yes,
and
yes.
it's fine, isn't it?
Yes,
It
there's
works
not a
just
problem
fine.
with it at all.
Okay, okay. This screen that we're looking at was not always in this position.
No, it was against the back wall of the building
In
originally.
fact, to let people know what was going on at that time, that would have been the silent movie days.
Yes,
And
silent
there would have
movies.
been a pit in front of the screen.
Yes, it's still there. It's just covered by the wooden floor now.
Where the theater organ would have been.
Right.
And the theater organist would have sat at the console in the pit and accompanied the silent movies.
You bet. That's what they did.
Okay. Well, can we go back?
You
and
bet.
See what's there
We
now?
can go back here.
Well, Mike, we were talking about the original wooden floor that would have been in the theater.
Yes.
And it would have been very similar to this, because this is the same
Yes.
floor.
Yes, this was the
We're on
same
the stage
floor
now.
all the way to the front.
Yeah, we're on the stage. It's interesting. It had us talk about the. Okay, look at this screen was on a concrete wall, and you can see this is probably the original screen. Although I guess nobody really
knows, but I'm assuming that it was.
You can see it feels like very thick canvas or some kind of material like that, and unfortunately it's rotting away. But it's neat that you have some of it still in existence, so you can see where and how it operated. And then here we mentioned the floor. This would have been the original stage.
Yes.
And then we were talking about the pit. This would have not been here. That would have been the pit where
Yes.
where the organ was.
Yeah, and it was off on the west side of the theater. Over here is where the organist sat.
Okay. And you can see that's where the original. I'm not sure of that, but that baffling there, that curved area, that would have been the original, sort of the screen
Right.
and the pit.
This was the original wall back here where once silent movies ended and they moved it up and it was the original screen was here.
Yeah, and now you can see where you put your new speakers
Yes.
here, which probably provide incredible audio. Look at those brand new speakers.
Yep.
And those are embedded like right behind the new screen.
They're half the size of the old ones and 5 times the power.
Half the size. And those 3 speakers, in addition to the smaller ones that you have on the walls out front, they provide all the audio.
Yes.
I'll bet you
Yes.
could blow this place. You could blow them out of this place.
I
couldn't you,
can
with it?
feel it upstairs vibrate, and those speakers there were the old ones that they put in 1995.
Wow, what an improvement, huh?
Yeah, and they're just little flat type speakers now.
And we want to explain the reason this is kind of a mess back here is because this is the only storage you have.
Yeah, we have no other storage. This is it and everything, and we've been so busy. We just now did open back up November 1st. And everything just got stored back here. Our old seat, we got some old seats back here, and all the extra
Take
seating.
a look at that. This is what all the seats used to look like before you had before you replaced the new ones.
Yeah,
And-
those seats were installed in 1952. They were originally wooden seats that folded down with no cup holders. The cup holders weren't there. We put those on 7 or 8 years ago.
It was time. It was
Yes,
time, wasn't
yes, it
okay,
was.
what else was time was to get rid of the old projector and get a new projector.
Oh, yes.
And you've got it's state of the art. There's nothing
Yes.
newer than what you've got in this theater.
No, this is a Generation 3, almost top level projector. Christie makes a more advanced one. We got the next step down, which is a Barco, and it is awesome.
That's our next stop.
Yes.
After you.
Yes.
Mike, you talk about tight quarters. We're headed up to the projection room now, and there's really no other way to get up there. There used to be There used to be a balcony. People could sit there before, I guess, if they wanted to, but not anymore.
No, there's just no other exit but the one we just came up.
Yeah. And this is the projection room, and this is still the original sort of boundary of the projection room.
This was the original projection room.
But you have a lot more room now.
Oh, yes.
Because this incredibly state-of-the-art thing doesn't take up near the room the old projection room.
No, it took up. The projector was over in this area that took up that. And then we had the platter that sat here that we now have stored, came all the way to this area right here. You just had a little path between them.
You used to run the projector, didn't you?
Yes.
So, and it was a lot of work because you had to keep an eye on it, those big reels, and you had to watch, and boy, it told you when you had to start a new reel, didn't it? And you had to be very attentive.
Yes.
But anymore, this thing kind of does it all on its own.
Yep, you hit play and it goes.
It's terrific. Now, I want to see the old projector.
Okay, we can do that.
Go in there. Thank you.
Okay. This is where we have it stored.
Okay, now when I say old, is this what we're looking at down here on the floor?
Yeah, that projector right there that you're pointing at is a 1959 Super Simplex.
Okay, this here,
yep,
right?
That piece right there. And under there, you can't hardly see it, but that was the lamp house that ignited so we could show it out on the screen. Without it, you couldn't see it.
Okay, and you even had one that's earlier than that.
Yes, I have no idea the age of these two.
These old projectors over here?
Yes. The carbon arc projectors that were in here that were reel to reel. You had to, one reel ran through, you had to shut it off and flip the next one over. There was a changeover switch in the projection room. And it was two projectors up here, and you just had to keep, someone had to be here constantly at it.
And are these the reels that would have been
that were some of the reels. The smaller reels are what the latest movies came on. It's under that old TV set there. There's a smaller reel. Catching Fire would have been on 11 of those.
And you're talking about 11 of these right here. And you can see there's some of the film right there.
Yes.
And if we pick this one up, is this the one that you showed
yes,
me that still
has
has
the old nitrate film.
Open that up for me, will you?
That looks like it's probably a trailer from back in the 30s.
I'll be doggone. You've got a lot of really sort of interesting keepsake items.
Yes, there are. There's a lot of that stuff poked around in the little storage that we have.
Okay, now you mentioned an interesting term to me. We all know that they have really good electric lighting now to provide light behind that projector so you get a good strong signal.
Right.
But it wasn't always that way.
No.
You used to have to, show me this arc business.
These were the carbon arc rods that came together, and you had to adjust them as the movie ran to keep the arc, which was maybe a ½ inch wide. And that's what produced the light to get the movie out to the screen.
No kidding. These two, an arc between these.
Right.
That's bright enough. It's powerful enough to shoot that light all the way.
These were really, really bright. It's as bright as a welder's arc.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you keep having to adjust these because I guess they wear down, don't they?
Yes, they do. They burn
I'll be darned.
down, and you'd have to adjust them.
Okay, let's go see the new monster.
Sure.
And you can show us how easy that is. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, we had, how many of these reels would come before?
The new movie that we're going to show this weekend, there would have been 11 of those reels.
11, and heavy, in a big, heavy box.
It would have been about 130 pounds worth of movie. 2 boxes.
Okay, let's go see the new movie.
To get up those stairs.
Okay, and this is what it comes in
This is
now.
what it comes now in a 7-pound box.
Oh, man.
And
welcome the digital age, huh?
this is it, a hard drive that we plug into our server.
It just looks like a cassette, like an 8-track cassette or something. It's about the same size as an 8-track.
It is so easy anymore. Took me about an hour to put those reels together up here, to match them, to make sure that they were framed right. And now all we have to do is plug the movie into the server. And right over here, a menu pops up. It's called an ingest menu.
Okay.
And it's scanning, and here is the movie itself.
Catching Fire, that's your next one?
Catching Fire.
Okay.
And we'll show the closed caption one, which would be this one here. I can expand that a little bit to see, and there actually is the movie itself. It take about an hour and 10 minutes to load it.
Okay.
And all I do is hit ingest, and it loads it into our system. And then we set up a playlist. Come this weekend, we will come in here and I'll build the playlist. And this is how the movie plays now. You just build a playlist similar to this. This was last weekend's movie. And what I'll do is I'll just build a new playlist once I get all the unlock codes, the KDMs that come, so we don't show it early or pirate it. And I'll build the playlist, and we'll be ready to go. And when we get ready to go, we just hit play and it takes off.
This monster right here, what's the price tag on all these?
The sound system and the new sound equipment that I'm standing in front of and the projector was $81,000.
Oh my goodness.
And thanks to a benefactor, we were able to...
Something that a lot of small movie theaters couldn't do on their own.
Oh,
That's a chunk of change,
no,
isn't
yes. You know, we would have never been able to do it on our own.
Yeah.
I'm going to close this down here. We changed from a corporation to an Illinois not-for-profit here just over the summer. And then we got a big donation from an anonymous donor, which we thank so much because it enabled us to fix this, repair our roof, put the new seating in. The seating was not cheap in itself.
Oh, no.
It was close to $40,000 just for the seating.
Yeah. So $81,000 here, $40,000 there. You got the new carpeting, you got the roof. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
And people wonder why there are no small theaters.
That's right. Yeah. It was really an undertaking, and we're still a volunteer-based organization, and I thank our volunteers and everyone who has contributed around the community. The communities from 50 miles around. We get people from almost Springfield over here to see movies. And we appreciate all of it and all our donations and all our time of helping us paint. And I had a group of about 12 people that volunteered to help me take the old seats out. And if it wasn't for them, we'd have really been in a bind.
Yeah. Well, what a great story. I want to thank you for giving us this tour. I mean, it's very interesting, I think, for people to see how you can fit the new into the old and make it all come together and work. Yeah.
Yep. It's a passion of mine. I took it upon myself I have to keep it open. These small communities need these little theaters.
Yeah.
And we work very hard at it. We work very hard at it. Yes, we do.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Mayor Lunt, the Princess Theater is a really neat story.
Yes, it is.
I mean, because it shows what a community can do with some help. It shows that you can still have family entertainment at an affordable price. And it shows that you can maintain and bring back old buildings so they're really worth something.
Yes.
You know, it's a neat thing for Rushville.
Yeah, it's been there for over 100 years, and we're real proud of that. And the group that's got it right now, I mean, they're doing a fantastic job of keeping it, like you said, affordable for the families, and they've got current movies showing, and I mean, and they just recently went digital with their movies, so it's as good as it can be.
It is just terrific, and that whole operation there, that'll last for years to come, because that's state of the art right now. So you're in good shape on that. But in addition to that, this square, the Rushville Square, has really shown a lot of improvement just in the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, we started out with a Brick Street restoration project, we wanted to replace the sidewalks around the square, but that wasn't going to solve the problem. What needed to be done was recreate drainage and redirect the water flow.
All of this, of course, is new.
Right.
And all of the sidewalk leading up to those businesses over there, all brand new.
Right.
And you were able, and correct me if I'm wrong anytime, you were able to keep the original brick streets.
Yes. These bricks have all been taken out, new storm sewer put in, new water mains put in, and then new road bed. And then this is all hand laid back, one brick at a time. And these are the original bricks that have been here for over 100 years.
That's unbelievable. How did you get a group of people that wanted to and were able to clean all these? It had to be done by hand, didn't it?
Right. I mean,
my goodness.
The contractor that we hired, I mean, that was part of their job was cleaning them and getting them back. I think, if I remember right, they did have some workers from one of the facilities come in and help clean some of them up, but most of them were cleaned by the actual contractor.
That's fantastic. So now your drainage is no longer a problem anymore. Okay.
When we get a heavy rain now, I mean, it's gone in a matter of minutes. It's just gone. And before, I mean, we had water pooling everywhere and darn near running into buildings.
Well, and that's a terrible problem, but just for the attractiveness that this gives Rushville, this is worth it just to make it look as good as it does. Now, there are two things I want to point out while we're standing here. We have mentioned the Opera House, the Phoenix Opera House before, but what's really nice about this is they've experienced two really bad fires, and they've resurrected the Phoenix a couple of times. And now with these infrastructure improvements, that really makes that all the more valuable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's another focal point of the community, and a lot of our businesses, as you can see, are starting to go back to the period that we're trying to depict here, somewhere around the 1920s, with the lighting and everything. We're trying to depict more of that period, and we're working on, the city council's working on a program to help the other businesses get their facades back more to period, so that we look like we used to.
Yeah, we're concentrating on the city lights right now. Now those are not replicas, but those are, you bought those to look like the 1920s, right?
The ones in Central Park here that you see, the shorter ones, they're as close as we could get to the gas lights that used to be around the square. We compared pictures of the gas lights and went with a modern day replica that's just as, like I said, and it's darn near perfect.
Yeah.
The bigger, tall street lights are similar to what used to be up here.
Yeah.
Again, they're as close as we could get to what used to be here.
They're very impressive. The other feature I want to show is the gazebo, and if we look to our left there, we can see now that also was probably in need of some repair, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was originally built back in the late 1800s, real late 1800s, and then in about 1972 they restored it some and put it back in a more stable condition.
Yeah.
But here about a year, well, actually we started it last fall, a complete restoration. Basically took it down to bare bones. Anything that needed to be replaced on it, we replaced. Put everything back to just as near original as possible. The paint colors you see on it, the gray, we actually found under about 5 layers of paint and took that paint sample over to the hardware store, and they did a color match of the colors, and the same way with the ceiling. And if you notice, the ceiling comes down in the middle, and if you look at the floor, it actually comes up in the middle, and that's so that sound would convey out of it better.
No kidding, it's an acoustic thing, huh?
Yes.
I'll be doggone.
And like I said, all those colors are original. The lighting, we did research on that and found some old postcards and old pictures of the gazebo, and we put everything back just as close to the way it originally was built as could be done.
Yeah, boy, that's very, very
right now, the greatest thing that's happening is we've had several weddings up here, and we hope to have several more because people just love it. I mean, it's just it's a beautiful place to have an outdoor wedding.
The next question, of course, is money. All of this was very expensive.
Yeah, we had a lot of grants and some donations for the Central Park or the Brick Street restoration. Yeah. The cost of the taxpayers about $600,000, but that was all funded by TIF money, so there actually was no increase in tax revenue on the taxpayers. We had the money in place to pay for it. The gazebo, we had an anonymous donor that donated money for it. There's about $44,000 in just the gazebo itself. Wow. And we're putting a sound system in that's going to have speakers on the gazebo and speakers out here on the perimeter. And we're hoping at Christmas time, it's supposed to be done here by Thanksgiving. I hope it is. But we're hoping to have Christmas carols and what have you going on, and we can really show off the town.
Well, I'll tell you what, this anonymous donor, somebody really loves Rushville, and you all are very fortunate, aren't you?
We've been fortunate. We've had several anonymous donors come forward here recently and spend money, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor. Kathy Redshaw, we talked about the beautification of Central Park, and it's gorgeous.
Yes,
but in the holiday times, you're a little partial, but it gets even prettier, doesn't it?
Yes, it really
does. Because your group
does.
puts a lot of work into this.
Yeah, we do. We have actually lit the tops of every one of the store buildings around our square, all 4 sides, and then we put 57 trees surrounding Central Park, and we light those. We have names people can actually purchase to have it in memory of, and we put that on each tree. And now this year we've added snowflakes.
Yeah, and we see the snowflakes just beyond over your shoulder right there. And you're going to have how many of those to put around?
8
around.
this
And you
year.
wish you had more because people want to donate. They want
Right,
to buy
and
those
we
and
do
donate
have
them, don't
more, and hopefully next year we can add to that number, because we just weren't sure how many we'd sell.
Yeah.
And so we just refinished just 8, And
This whole project, this whole lighting project with the trees and everything, it goes to fund future Christmas.
Yes.
Right? So you can
Yes.
do this every year.
Yes. And it is a fairy tale when you come to town. It's gorgeous.
The trees have just been delivered, so they're here. And we have to mention, we talk about tradition, Dr. Donner's, it looks like a blue spruce tree to me.
Yes.
This one will not be lit in white as all the other 57 trees. This will be colored, and that's in his honor, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Wonderful Dr. Donner. Let's take a walk over to his statue, because not only will you have his Christmas tree lit up, you also have a new addition to Central Park, which is Dr. Donner sitting with a child, and God knows he helped enough of them. He delivered more than 3,000 babies here in Rushville, didn't he?
He did. He did.
What a gentleman. Dr. Donner, for those who don't know, has received all kinds of national awards and attention because of how he has served Rushville for, what, more than 50 years?
Yeah, yes.
He's 88 or
80, yeah, 88, I believe
88
is
years
correct.
old. And he's not in the best of health now, but until just earlier this year, he still had his practice over here on the square, and he was seeing people for $5 an office visit. He's a spectacular human being.
He's a one of a kind, for
yes,
sure.
He is. He sure is. His tree will be lit specially, and as we walk out here, we can look down the row. And we mentioned all the trees had just been delivered. So you and your group bring out, I mean, you've got these holes that are already drilled in the sidewalk. You bring out these stakes.
Yes. And then we'll actually have the trees wired to the stakes. We'll decorate them with little white lights and put a bow on the top and somebody's name in memory of, and they'll all be lit. We have a little pageant on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and choose a little Miss Christmas, and she gets to turn on all of Rushville's lights. So
man. Now
yeah, it's really
that girl.
neat.
I know that's an envied position, boy, because I bet you every little girl in Rushville wants to be able to do that.
Yeah, it is a fun night, and it's, you know, I always tell them it's cold that night, and no matter what the weather is, it will be outside.
Yep.
It has to be in Central Park. So we hold it right up on the park, and we have the hardware store fixes up a switch so she can switch the switch and light all of the lights, and it's a pretty spectacular event.
You may want to make it to Rushville during the Christmas season just to see the lights and the new square. And while you're here, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can still see a movie at the Princess for $5. With another Illinois Story in Rushville, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.